Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Mr. Corelli, care to say anything? Do you feel vindicated at all?
White Plains, New York, a police officer who shot and killed an innocent 68-year-old mentally ill veteran who accidentally hit the medical emergency button in his home, will face no consequences after Acting U.S. Attorney June Kim determined that there was insufficient evidence to press charges. The victim, Kenneth Chamberlain, accidentally triggered a medical alert through LifeAid, which prompted police to visit his home. When the officers arrived unexpectedly, Chamberlain told the responding officers that he was okay and did not need any help. He refused to answer his door, and instead called LifeAid and told them that he did not need the police at his home. "I have the White Plains Police Department banging on my door, and I did not call them and I am not sick," Chamberlain told the dispatcher on the phone. However, the officers refused to leave and initiated a standoff with Chamberlain, allegedly taunting him with racial slurs, according to his family. Advertisement. On the recording, the police can be heard calling my father a nigger, the family stated. Police knocked down his door and saw him holding a knife, so they tossed him, shot him with beanbag rounds and then killed him with a fatal gunshot. According to Pix 11, the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan opened an investigation after a state grand jury declined to indict the officers, but because the man was holding a knife in his own home, U.S. Attorney Kim decided that he was a threat to the officers' lives, and thus deserved to die. The weight of the evidence indicates that, at the time the shooting took place, the WPPD officers believed that Mr. Chamberlain was threatening Sergeant Keith Martin with a knife, and that Officer Anthony Corelli believed that Sergeant Martin was in danger of being seriously injured by Mr. Chamberlain, a statement from the Department of Justice said. Read more. Man illustrates the need to film police, catches the cop from hell on a hidden camera. However, Chamberlain's family says that this case shows that police are above the law. It's clear if you look at situations like this, and I'm not an attorney, but it's very clear that the rule of law doesn't apply when you talk about cases like this. Rather than have the FBI go out and interview witnesses, rather than hire forensic pathologists and ballistics experts that can challenge what the police story is, they just pick up the police story and say, "Oh, there's nothing here." They don't do their job. Kenneth Chamberlain Jr. told reporters. The family attempted to file a civil case against the police department, but that was ultimately rejected by a jury. For Kenneth Chamberlain Jr., this has been a life-changing event, which has pushed him to get involved in activism. He said that he hopes to work towards legislation that makes it easier to prosecute police officers in situations like this. "This is what my objective is, this is what my mission is, this is what I'm trying to do now. That's going to take reform-minded prosecutors and judges and people who really believe in the rule of law so we can begin to hold these officers accountable," Chamberlain Jr. said. As the Free Thought Project reported in April 2017, a study found that police do more harm than good in encounters with mentally ill people. Researchers sought to answer the question of whether or not police help or hinder the situation when they respond to a call of a mentally disturbed individual. The survey was conducted by the Phoenix Mayor's Commission on Disability Issues. The method employed was a survey. Read more. Writing tickets to get dates and virtually flashing women. Sure, you can remain a cop. The sample for the survey was taken from those seeking mental health care. There were 244 individuals who were polled and self-reported having mental health issues seeking treatment in the Phoenix metropolitan area. They were located in health clinics, residential programs, and some were homeless. Of those polled, a reported 51% had at least one encounter with police and 24% had 3 or more encounters with law enforcement. The results of the survey found that 45% of those who reported having been in contact with police said the encounter quickly deteriorated after police arrived. Only 30% said police helped at all. And just 19% said they helped a lot. Only 6% of those polled said police had no effect at all.
This case has been a travesty from the day Mr. Chamberlain was shot and killed across the street to today. From the very start of this case has been a travesty from the day Mr. Chamberlain was shot to this day. From the very first day we were in this courthouse, the judge who we were in front of stripped this case of its essence. In stages and stages, every major claim that we had was taken away from us so that the jury could only consider the narrowest of issues. How a police force can break into a man's home using sledgehammers and axes and then shoot and kill him in his own home is a travesty beyond words. We fully intend to appeal this decision. We think there were a number of errors made along the way. And the number one error is to exclude, and I'm going to use the expression, fuck you nigger. When he said, I'm okay, fuck you nigger. And you expect Mr. Chamberlain to think that the police are there to help him? He was prescient. You're here to kill me. And that's what he did. And it wasn't just Corelli who pulled the trigger. All the officers who were there that day participated in a siege and a violation of his rights to be left alone. And we feel that eventually Mr. Chamberlain Jr. and Mr. Chamberlain Sr. will get the justice they deserve. Unfortunately, we didn't get that today. But this is just one step along the way. Don't be fooled. We're not done here. We intend to take this case to the highest court in the land, and I don't care if they replace Scalia with a Scalia clone. We will win. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Randolph McLaughlin, one of the lawyers for the plaintiff.
Sir, what happened there at the end? Did the judge ask the sides to
I can't discuss that. They never made any efforts. This city took a scorched earth approach to this case. This is the first case of a major police shooting of an African American man since Ferguson that has not been resolved. But apparently in the city of White Plains, you can kill black men and get away with it. Well, we're here to say to you all and to the city of White Plains, we're not done with you. We're hardly done with you. This movement has just begun, and this struggle has just begun. As Martin Luther King once said, the struggle isn't over until the final victory. Anyone else want to say something? Please go ahead.
Mr. Chamberlain, you talked a lot about really wanting to get justice for your father. We're coming up on the 5-year anniversary. Anything you can say about that today?
Part of me is very disappointed, but when you look at this system, I've said time and time again that we have a system in place that places no value on the lives of black people. And this was a perfect example. For this city to be allowed to say that my father used expletives, but we not be allowed to talk about the racial slur and the expletives that they screamed at my father. There was never a level playing field from the beginning. I was very disappointed with some of the decisions that the judge made in the beginning, but I didn't say anything. But after this decision was made, it's very clear that this judge has just given the City of White Plains Police Department a license to kill with impunity on it. But as my attorney said, it's not over. I'm not defeated. I'm gonna still fight you. And I believe in the end, justice will be served.
Debbie? Mayo?
5 years, we, on behalf of Kenneth Chamberlain Jr., have fought every step of the way to try to bring the truth out in this case. The city of White Plains has fought every step of the way to suppress the truth. And unfortunately, during the course of this case, the judicial system did nothing to help us on our search for the truth. And the verdict today is not a verdict on the truth. It's a verdict today on a false reality that was put before this jury, and it was a sanitizing of an event. The fact that this jury has no clue, has no information that Mr. Chamberlain Jr. was called a nigger by members of the White Plains Police Department, that they had him under a violent siege for over 90 minutes, and yet the only moment, the millisecond that this jury was allowed to consider was the second that Officer Corelli shot him. And I'm sorry, 68-year-old man that from Corelli's own mouth was on the ground when he received the fourth shot from a beanbag shotgun at a velocity stronger than a Mike Tyson punch. And they've somehow bought this myth that was put before them that Mr. Chamberlain, 68 years old, with chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, with a heart condition, with osteoarthritis, somehow sprang up like a Superman, is nothing short of just using racial stereotyping of the black Superman to try to get out from your responsibility. And it's a travesty of justice. And we will fight till our last breath until we get justice for Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. His voice will not be forgotten.
This case speaks volumes about the city of White Plains. It speaks volumes about our legislators throughout this country and about case law, which basically limits your ability to have any recourse against law enforcement. And in the city of White Plains, where the White Plains officials themselves are crystal clear in the knowledge that their police officers call people nigger and break down their doors and kill them, and that there's no recourse whatsoever, that you have officers who allegedly have disabilities yet still maintain handguns and still walk the city of White Plains. When you stop and consider all of that, and that in courts all over this country, when people act and aid and abet each other and act in concert, they all have the same liability. But somehow, with respect to a case where law enforcement's involved, you're limited to just 1 second prior to a shot. And the other thing that's significant is that when you are in your home and you were shot and killed by police, there are no other witnesses. You are the last surviving witness until the time that you were killed. So we're in a situation now where clearly we renew our struggle for accountability for law enforcement. We're going to appeal this decision, and we'll continue to deal with this matter. Thank you.
County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too, because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, you know, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, you know, at least I can do it. You know, 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.